and welcome back to another week of Yonci and Friends. Very excited to be here. And as usual, I'm going to be bringing up some friends to help have the discussion with me on the topics that we shared on Patreon. Let me go ahead and quickly let you know how this works if this is your first time here. If it is, you can go ahead to Patreon. Patreon is where I post all of the juicy tea that I get from the men on my Yonster Nation page. If you are a man and you want to contribute to this information, help the women understand you guys a little bit better, go to the Instagram page, Yonster Nation, and follow there for ladies. And if the guys want to join too, they can. You can join on Patreon, and that's where you'll see all the men's answers. You will get information on in-person events, which is happening tomorrow, actually. We have a 3-day event coming up just as a thank you for people who follow on Patreon and subscribe there. You can chat with other patrons and you can get some behind the scenes content. So that is how it works. If you don't know, now you know. And each week I ask 5 questions from the men, try to make them juicy. And then I post all the answers on Patreon. So go ahead and follow there if you haven't done so already. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to bring the homie Willie up to the stage. And I've actually got some special topics to talk about tonight. How are you, sir? Looking crispy over there with your muted screen.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Cut me, man. Crispy. Goodness, ladies. Hope the ladies have their church fans because, you know, we like a fresh.
They don't need it. They need to ignore me altogether. Don't even.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I figured we'd start out because we've been a little, you know, we haven't had as many guests lately. So I figured I'd bring a little meat to the beginning of the discussion before we get into our usuals. Congratulations again on being number 1 first in the comments. I can't believe y'all just keep letting him be the first one. Drop your city and state, please, and let us know where you are watching from. If it's your very first time watching a live show, comment newbie so we can give you an extra shout out. One more thing to add, if you're not familiar with the format of the show lasts for 2 hours from 8 to 10 Eastern, 7 to 9 Central. But if you're having too much fun and you want the show to go on, you can offer a love offering and we will extend the show. You can pay minute by minute. And we have a lot of fun. Just how y'all can making me stay up late, especially because I have a whole trip tomorrow I have to plan for. Anywho, but I don't complain, right? I'll take the coins. All right, so let's get started. The conversation that we will be having tonight to start off with, this is a surprise for my guest and fellow panelists. We're going to be talking about what to focus on a first date. But before we talk about what to focus on the first date, I think we should talk about focusing on people who have birthdays on Halloween. Happy birthday. I would sing to you, but part of my gift is not doing that. That's part of my gift is not singing to you. So
I appreciate it. Thank you
for
for
show love in other ways. It will not be through the vocals.
The effort and the thought is appreciated.
We definitely, I'm glad we get to hang out with you. It'll be the day after your birthday, but still giving some birthday love. So you guys feel free to drop him some birthday love in the comment section. And I'm sure this has been your most memorable birthday yet on this.
Listen, I'm dreading what happens after the show tonight. So,
gonna be a good time. Gonna be an absolute good time.
I bought a Bible just in case.
I mean. All right, so we're gonna get into some tips. Feel free to give your thoughts. So ladies, free stuff here. Normally this is a separate live stream. Like I said, I thought I'd start it off. Since you guys are here on time, I'll give you a little bonus, okay? What women should focus on a first date as opposed to just checking everything off the list and trying to do everything perfectly. I recommend 3 things if you're a note taker. The first one, focus on building a connection. And I love to say this, Willie, because so many women are so concerned with like all of their needs being met that they're not considering whether he's bonding with her. So if the guy checks all of her boxes and she's like, oh yeah, this guy is, you know, a prize, he might not even feel connected. And then it was like for nothing. So I think it's important that while you're assessing your compatibility, you're also making sure that you're bonding with the guy. You should also work to understand a man's intentions, because this is going to be shocking to people, I'm sure. Not all men are there with the best intentions. And what I mean by best intentions means the same intentions you are. We'll put it that way. And then the last thing, which most women nail, is assessing compatibility. So I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to do that. As I mentioned, feel free to jump in with your male feedback if you want. Okay, so the very first one is to observe his observe his actions and his attentiveness. I'm going to go ahead and move my screen while he handles his birthday calls. Okay, you want to observe his actions and his attentiveness. How attentive is to you? One of the major things this will do is show you the guy's level of interest. Now, this is not saying he knows he wants to be with you and he's like, oh yes, we go together because this date was wonderful. But he has to at least be interested enough to make the date, which obviously he did. But on the date, he needs to be interested, showing you that he is interested, okay? Some of the things you can pay attention to is, does he have respect for your time? One of the ways a man can show respect for your time is planning ahead. All women say, don't just spur of the moment, ask me out. Spontaneity is cute once we're in a relationship, but just coming out the gate and being like, hey, can you meet me in 2 hours? Not a good sense that he is respecting your time. Now, playing devil's advocate, a man could say, I was just really excited to see her. And that is possible, but as a rule of thumb, you want to make sure the guy has taken time to think through what he wants to do and what time he's going to see you, and he gives you enough time to adequately prepare for the date. Second thing would be, under observing his actions and attentiveness is, does he talk over you or is he actually listening to what you have to say? Have you ever been on a date with a woman who just like wouldn't let you get a word in edgewise and it just felt like you're on a monologue in a monologue?
I mean, not necessarily a date, but I've been out with women. I won't go out with a woman until I know that she checks all of those boxes. So we talk for a while. But I've been out with women and seen that that's what they do when they're just talking. It's like they're competing with you to make as many pertinent points or have as much value to bring to the conversation. So, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, it's scary. I've been there, and I'm like, do you care what I have to say, or are you just performing here? You want to see if the guy is, just present in the moment and respectful. And then, of course, with you, you want to make sure you're present too. You're not 15 steps ahead and too much in your mind. And I always say, don't stress about the little things. I don't think I've ever heard a guy say, oh, she had, spilled something, or unless she was drunk and, out of control. But like normal human stuff, guys aren't knocking you for that. They're more so seeing if you're a good time and you're a good vibe. So just relax. It's okay if things don't go perfectly according to what you think is perfect. By the way, if you're watching on Instagram, please go ahead and come to YouTube. YouTube really takes care of creators, if you know what I mean. And you get to see all the cool graphics and my guests on panel, and you get to see all the comments. So just head on over to Chasing Yonci on YouTube, and you will be able to see the show. All right, so number 2 out of the list of 5. By the way, guys, drop your city and state. Everybody has come, but they haven't checked in yet. You got to check in, y'all. Okay. Ask about his passions. Ask about his interests. Number 1 question that women tend to like to ask a guy is, what do you do for a living? I would not recommend that as a first date question. I think that will kind of come out organically anyway. But you could ask him what he's passionate about, or, what do you enjoy the most about what you do if you wanted to. You could just ask what he's passionate about in general. And so he might say he's passionate about what he does, and he can get into that. But talk about his hobbies, his goals, things that, really make him perk up. And this will also help to show you if you have common interests. So I'm going to put you on the spot. What kinds of things are you passionate about that you can say on YouTube?
Helping people. That's probably one of the biggest things. I do a lot of that. But outside of that, just peace, guns, success, anything that feels good outside of that. YouTube friendly activities.
Very nice. All right, we got some people checking in. Oh shoot, I know you're all the way down there. Okay, so shout out to Oak Cliff, Texas. We got CK in Chicago watching. Is it your first time, CK? If it is, let me know. Comment newbie. Extra shout out for the newbies. Okay, I know we got the OGs in the house, so y'all know the drill. Okay, at this point, y'all, we are 24 episodes into the season, so we gotta get it together. Did I put? Oh, I sure didn't. I sure did not put the correct up. Let me fix this real quick. Not that I ever do my what do you call it? What do you call it? Clips. I never put the clips up. But let me go ahead and update this because I was like, we're not on episode 24, we're on episode 25. Okay. So let's see. Excuse me. Let me update this. I was rushing, y'all, and I was so proud of myself. I was like, I got everything done with 10 minutes to spare. Clearly, I did not. So let me just do this real quick. I'm glad I can do this live. All right, there we go. Now we are correct. We're on episode 25. Okay. Let's see who else checked in. Oh, she is a newbie. See, I remember people's names. So welcome, CK. Welcome to YouTube. Isn't it beautiful over here? Letitia is signing in. Oh, hey, girl. I almost said your whole government name. My bad. We'll just say Letitia S. Or Letitia, however you pronounce it, from Charlotte, North Carolina. I believe I'll be seeing you tomorrow. That'd be great. We got Lee in the house. Yo, Yonci and Willie. Hello. What's good? Where are you tuning in from? And Lindsay says, happy birthday, Willie. Appreciate your insight and wisdom you share. Aw, we will be seeing, I believe we'll be seeing her tomorrow. Wait, are we seeing tomorrow, Lindsay? I feel like we are. My brain's going to mush. Okay, I'm excited if you can't tell about the event tomorrow. It's gonna be a good time. You should come, Willie. You should come hang out with us. Just kidding. Oh, it's Greg. Nice. Very nice to see you. Okay, so number 3. So we said observe his actions and his attentiveness. These are what you should focus on a first date. How about I actually put a banner up so you guys could actually see what focus on a first date. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so we're on number 3. Number 3, assess his communication style and his sense of humor. This is so important to me, like really, really important. I know all the other things are really important, but life is too short to not joke around. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things to do with Monte is to joke. The 3 of us have a group text, and that's pretty much 99% of what we do on there is just joke around, send funny memes, things like that. And I think if you can't have fun with your partner, that's a problem. And there should be just a natural rapport when you are, meeting up with the guy for the first time. Obviously, you're not going to be as comfortable as when you're down the road. But if everyone's being themselves, that should not be hard. So pay attention to the guy. If he seems like he's open, relaxed, and if he shares in a balanced way, is it like you sharing everything and him quiet, or he sharing everything and you're quiet? There should be natural banter going back and forth. But it's really good if you have humor and chemistry. Okay. All right. Anything you want to share before we go to number 4, sir? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Number 4, pay attention to how he treats others. Oh my God. I have been around people who were mean to other people. I heard them talking to people on the phone that worked for them, and I just wanted to crawl under a rock and, well, I don't want to say that. I just want to not be there. And heard them talk to servers and things like that. Huge red flag, and it absolutely matched the person because I stuck around longer than I should. So yeah, pay attention to how he treats others and see how he handles small inconveniences. That is huge. Okay. One thing I will say about Willie, and I'm not just saying this because it's his birthday and he's on the show and he's a friend, but this man handles stress like I've never seen. Okay. It is insane. So I won't put his business out there, but trying would be an understatement for how his week has been. And he is also our event sponsor for the weekend. So that's a lot of responsibility. And, he has to deal with me asking him a million questions and things. And you would never know. He's cool as a cucumber. He may as well have been on a tropical beach somewhere sipping a pina colada that's virgin. So yeah, pay attention to how a man handles little inconveniences. Nothing worse than a guy treating you unkindly, but blaming it on the situation. well, I'm under a lot of pressure at work, or I had whatever. Men should be able to be in control of their emotions pretty much at all times. Your safety is actually at risk if they can't. If they're the type of person who, pops off, it could turn really, really bad down the road. Okay. So pay attention to that because you'll see a lot about his character, his patience, and empathy. And finally, the last one, for those of you who are just coming in, I am going over what to focus on a first date. Want to give you guys a little extra value at the beginning. A little bonus for those who came in early. Well, not early, but on time. CP time, being on time is early, I guess. Number 5, and almost more important than any of the other ones, focus on how you feel. As women, we tend to be people pleasers. We tend to be very concerned about everyone around us, and that's part of our feminine energy, is wanting to be concerned with the community and make sure that we're all working together and we're cohesive. But you want to make sure that you check that amount of feminine energy on the first date, the first couple of dates, and anytime you're on this new guy, and put it in check, because you need to also prioritize how you feel and your needs. So notice if you feel respected. Does he say things that take the conversation in a place he feels inappropriate? Does he violate boundaries? Does he make you uncomfortable? Do you feel like you could genuinely be yourself? It's interesting because I was talking to a coaching client, and she said that, she went on this one date and she was able to do all the things that she would have normally done. And this other date, she didn't. And it ended up being because she really was feeling this guy. And so one of the things I told her was, you need to have the same standard with each person, regardless of your level of attraction to the person. And you should be yourself. You should still ask the same things. You should still vet the same way. And that's why it's really important to have your requirements up front and memorized, or at least on a piece of paper or on your phone, so that you don't get kind of starstruck when you see a guy, as I like to say, whose beard connects, he has side teeth, and has subject verb agreement. Okay? So evaluate how you feel about yourself. You should feel really positive during the date, after the date, and you should be leaving looking forward to the next one if everything is going well. Okay? Shout out to Lateris. I just happened to look down and see the host of Dear Future Wifey and on my Instagram. And sir, quick shout out. This has been so many years, but you guys, he filmed, fun fact, he filmed my very first video that went viral on YouTube. So shout out to you. It was with Jay Barnett, King Jay, he goes by on Instagram. And that was pretty cool in the Dear Future Wifey Studios. But it was a different set. But a fun fact, if you guys have been following me for a long time on YouTube, you know this because you saw my vlog episode and you saw us cutting up behind the scenes. You would know if you watch his show, but he's very funny and very goofy, and we had a really good time. Anyway, so I just saw you just shouting, yeah, buddy. Anyway, okay, so you should have a good sense of the guy's personality on the first date, your compatibility, and how he aligns with what you are looking for in a partner. All right, that's all I have for your bonus. Did you guys like that? Did you like having a little tips to take away from first date? I think should definitely be fun and playful. This is coming from a guy, you guys. This is why I don't shoo men away. I had some guy be like, "Oh, you're pages for women." I said, "Feel free to stick around because you guys hold us accountable." Thank you, Lateris. Oh, thank you, Paul. He said your advice is always on point. Come on over to YouTube, y'all, if you want to support the algorithm. Come on over to YouTube and we can have a lot of fun here. But yes, one of the biggest things that I have learned from men is they want to have a good time. Men are kind of like, and I don't say this disrespectfully, and I don't say this in a derogatory way, but they're like really big kids. Like they're just kids who got in a bigger body. Men are very good at being playful and having fun. And I think a lot of it has to do with having to have so many responsibilities all of the time and so much pressure on them that when they are around their buddies and they can relax, or ideally when they're around a woman they feel safe with, it's like unbuttoning that top button, unbuttoning that pants button, or for the girls, it's like taking off your bra or taking uncomfortable shoes off. It's like, it's a breath of fresh air and you just want to let loose. So you notice the things that guys tend to do when they're together, watch entertaining things, whether it's sports, movies, whatever, playing games, you know, teasing each other, challenging each other. They're doing things that are fun and stimulating. So the date should not feel like an interview. Absolutely not feel like an interview. But it should also not feel like, you know, this like super, super serious thing. We prioritize romance and everything going perfectly, but men are just like, can she be gorgeous and amazing to hang out with? So, hey, for what it's worth, some free information to start off. All right, so we are going to get to the very first topic here. And I'm going to go ahead and shut Instagram down so you guys can come watch on YouTube. And I also got to see where we are with the likes. You guys have about 30 seconds to hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And the rest of you who haven't checked in yet, drop your city and state so I can shout you out, please. Okay, Lindsay, I see you're going to be there Saturday. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and shut this off. She said, no, just go to YouTube, type Chasing Yonci, and it'll pop right up. Okay, I'll see you guys over there on YouTube. All right, so let's see where we are on likes. Since I don't have anyone to snitch right now, I can't even believe Willie's on here on his birthday. That's crazy. Okay. Oh, that's so amazing. So I have this video, guys, that it just keeps going. It's so old. It's entitled Why God Has You in a Wilderness Season. And someone just said, this is by far the best video, most helpful, and all. Thank you. God bless you. Oh, that's really, really cool. I was really, really in a tough place when I did that video. And so it's really cool to see that it's helping people as they watch it now. Okay, I had to respond. I try to respond to everybody's comments that they put on YouTube. But that one, I want to really get to that really quickly. Okay, so let's check where we are. Sorry, y'all. It pops up when I go to look. Okay. All right. That's what happens on our live show. Episode 24. There we go. All right. How many watching? We got 14 watching. Oh, 6. Okay, just went up to 7 as I'm watching. Come on, y'all. We gotta up these numbers. New people, you get a pass. If you have your chat box open, you're gonna have to close your chat box on your phone so that you can get to the like button and then tap that like button. And then you can go right back to the chat box and keep enjoying the conversation. Then you can open it back up by tapping the comments, okay? We got Philly in the house. Nice to have you. Thank you. We got Brooklyn in the house. Hey, good to have you. All right, let's get these likes up, y'all. We can't have 7 likes and 13 people watching. Okay, so first topic. Oh, gosh, I forgot how juicy the first topic is. Oh, Lord, I have no one to hide behind on this panel right now. Okay, so we're just going to go into, y'all be blushing talking about grown-up stuff on here. So let me explain where this topic came from. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, here's the context, okay? The question in full is it hard trying not to climax with a woman you have an intense emotional connection with versus someone that you just connect with physically? So what I mean by this is you have a woman who you just find physically attractive, and then you have a woman who you have bonded with and have an emotional attachment as well. So, okay, that was random. Oh, that's so sweet. So Willie got a really cool birthday gift. He was just sent. That wasn't the random comment. I got a different random comment. But yay, Willie, if you're watching this, that's very, very sweet. I'm happy that you got something for your birthday. So this is a situation where this came from. A guy had mentioned about how he has a normal stamina, and he ended up falling in love with someone on a level to which he had never been before. And for him, it was it made it very difficult to not achieve, how do I say this in a PG way or a G-rated way? not to reach the mountaintop very quickly. So I found it really interesting and wanted to know if there was a mental, physical or emotional physical connection, correlation when it comes to men. And so I did a poll, and this is what the guys said. Okay. Actually, take a guess if you want to. Take a guess in the comments. Yes. Do you think it's more difficult for a guy to not climax when he has a really strong bond emotionally? Or no, do you think it's not hard for him to, choice of words, not hard for him to not climax? So yes, it's probably more difficult with an emotional attachment. No, it's not more difficult with an emotional attraction. All right. And so let me go ahead and put the responses up, but I want to see what you guys vote for. So don't be shy. Okay. We got some no's. What else do you guys say? Do you think it's more of a struggle when there's a physical bond, or is it just all the same? Here are the poll results. 53% said yes, it is more difficult. So I find this interesting that, somebody could be really connected with somebody, and then it makes it difficult to go longer periods. Damn, it's very hard to say this without being super direct. All right, so let me read these comments. Oh, sheesh. So this guy said, no, I have a problem climaxing, period. I have too much stamina. So that would be interesting, that he's just going and not reaching the tip of the mountain. Okay. Someone else said, I think it's the opposite for me. If I don't really like you and it's just sex, my desire to please isn't as great. I guess meaning, so he just finished quickly. Granted, I've tried to move away from just sex as I get older. I love the honesty of these. Next one says, the only thing that changes is the enjoyment. This is based on conversations with my friends over the years. Committed relationships take themselves too seriously and miss the connection, enjoyment, and spontaneity of flings. However, they don't affect the speed of climax, especially if the guy is the sort to run through several positions in a session. This is my experience and what I observed from conversation. Interesting. Okay. Someone else is speaking from my own perspective. It's the energy she brings plus the overall synergy between us, which leans weight. Okay, so I guess if she's really bringing that energy, but then I guess you would say if you're really in love with her, she probably is bringing that energy. So in the comments, he says, no, not all. Men are more visual. So the woman is physically attracted. It'll make it easier for me to climax quicker, as opposed to the emotional connection. Okay, interesting. I'll read one more. Not really. If you're focused on getting her to her destination first, then again, sex isn't a casual thing for me. Okay. All right. So anybody who wants to join the panel, just let me know if you are going to be contributing to the conversation. Just watching the show, you're going to want to just do that on YouTube. But if you do want to come on camera, I will ask if you can contribute your opinions to the show. Otherwise, you can just use the YouTube link and watch it there. Okay, so let's get to the next question. All right, so number 2, this is about stepdaddies. Okay, so let's go back here and let's check and see how are we doing so far. All right, likes are still about the same. We'll see how y'all do in a second. Okay, stepdaddies, what was your experience of raising another man's children like? Because I hear so many guys, talking about their experiences, and it just sounds brutal. So I was curious to know what they had to say, and their options were positive or I got PTSD. So this is what the guys had to say. 48%, which is very impressive, said they had a positive experience. So thank you for weighing in, Lindsay. They said it was a positive experience for the most part. 52%, so almost even, said, oh man, I have PTSD. And I think that a lot of times the majority of it is, how the mom is raising the kid. Lee, were you saying, I'm sorry, you said Lee, but this is Greg. did you want to come on? If you do, DM me on Instagram and I'll go ahead and shoot you the link to join, unless you are already on Patreon, then you can just click the link there. But I would love to have you on the panel if you're going to weigh in. All right, so let me read some of these comments. They did have a lot to say on this one. So those of you on Patreon, you can read all of them on your own time. Okay. He said, all right, I'll be straightforward and uncomplicated here. I've attempted to take on the role of a stepfather, showed patience. The problem is arose from differing opinions on how to raise a child. Yep. It's not, I wouldn't think a lot of times it's the kid themselves. My intention was to provide guidance as I would like to my own future son. Future son. However, she preferred her approach. I'm looking for a companion who's willing to let me take the lead and trust my judgment in guiding her children. Yeah. What do you guys say in the comments? Would you allow a man to weigh in and give his feedback on decisions? I feel it's very important for my guy to feel like he has a role in parenting and that he doesn't just co-sign what I have to say. Obviously, being her mother, my children's mother, I have the final say, just like he has the final say with his kids. But I really respect his decision. And that's a big part of why I wanted to be with him, because I respect his views and opinions. And I want to have that masculine balance out my feminine. So I'm curious to know. So I got one yes in the comments. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, if the women here would let the men weigh in. The second guy said, for me, it was an amazing experience. I raised 2 young women from 2 and 4 to now 27 and 30. Loved every moment, the challenges and the lessons. Okay, the next one. If you're not interested in kids that aren't yours, or you don't want kids, pursuing a woman with kids is a waste of everyone's time. Okay, that seemed very obvious, but all right. The single most thankless position a man could ever put himself in. Your sacrifices will never outweigh her selfishness or truly be appreciated. I feel like that's coming from a very jaded perspective. I definitely think that there are people who appreciate, like myself included. And I know a lot of people who tell their stories and say, whether they had a great relationship with their biological father or not, they have great relationships with their stepdads. Some have such a good relationship with their stepdads that they wanted them to be the one to walk them down the aisle and things like that. So I definitely don't think that this is speaking to all experiences. Another person said, let me get the popcorn for this one. It's largely what we've heard from other men that has a lot of younger dudes, I'm 31, saying, nope. And I'll read one more. One word, torture. Pure, unadulterated torture. So again, it would be interesting. I wish I had asked them to explain more. Was it the children who were not enjoyable, or was it the way the mother was parenting and not co-parenting that made it, unenjoyable? I don't know. All right, y'all. So those of you watching, if you haven't taken a chance to hit that like button, please do so. Not because I care, but YouTube, it's their way of knowing that you are liking what you see. They can also tell by you sticking around, but it does affect the algorithm if you do click that like button, and they will be more apt to share it with other people. So don't hold back if you are enjoying it. Okay, the third topic that we are going to be talking about is physical touch. This is really interesting because there were some people saying that physical touch is not their primary love language. It's not really high on their list. And it's crazy. I, for whatever reason, really attract a lot of people who physical touch is not high on their list. And so the question I asked is, has it ever made your partner question your love for her? And the overwhelming majority said yes. And I will read a couple of questions. I really think I'm obsessed with love languages because psychologically, I just feel like that's the way that you process love. And even if that person, is truly feeling love and showing love, if it's not in your love language, it just doesn't register the same way. Okay. Anyway, so we got into this. So let's hear some of the comments. He said, hell, I am dealing with this now. Physical touch is not her love language. And he said, I absolutely effing hate it here. Okay, the next one says, I definitely have experienced this one. It's difficult for me to put it into words here, but I will definitely say it wasn't a pleasant experience. This guy called me out. He said, your double negative is confusing me, Yonci. I'm sorry. I originally said, if you don't not show love. I don't know. I said something crazy, but I fixed it for y'all. Okay. Another guy said at one point it didn't. It absolutely made her question why I didn't touch her. Now I focus on giving her all 5 consistently. That's awesome. Yeah, there's a balance. Like we all want to be, treated like a piece of meat, especially if we're just meeting you. But then after a certain point, we're like, ew, how would you not touch me? I'm amazing. Does a lack of physical touch and sexual intimacy negatively impact your relationship? Yes. Okay, let's see. The mother-in-law is hitting me up. Sorry, sugar lump. I am on a live stream. Okay, so we're going to close this. So how many of you guys have physical touch as a really high on your list? How many of you is it like really high up there for you? You could say it's high, you could say it's low. I saw a video and I want to remake this with Monte, but the girl's like, how I expect him to be 24/7. And she's walking around and he's literally like this behind her and he's just walking step in step. I jokingly say, I wear my daughter around my neck if I could, like a scarf. We love being affectionate and cuddly and touchy. And so if I'm on the couch and your hand is not on my thigh, it's not around my shoulders, or you're not, stroking my hair, I'm like, are we in a fight? Like, did I make you mad? That's just how I am. I am touchy-feely in the car. I'm touching your leg. I'm rubbing the back of your neck. If we're in the store, I'm touching your back. Like, I'm just a touchy-feely person. Always kisses and hugs when leaving, kisses and hugs when greeting, random kisses throughout the day. Like, I just can't get enough of physical touch. It's really, really awesome. So let me know in the comments how you are with physical touch. Okay, we are moving right along. Okay, we're talking about romance. This is something that's so interesting. So we talk so much about romance, and women love romance. Of course, we watch romantic shows and all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, unless you just have like a really crazy budget, it can be really hard sometimes to think of different things to do to be romantic and to be fresh and new, right? Like, I think it's easy for someone to describe 1 or 2 scenarios, but it's always interesting when you have to actually describe what romance would be. So the question I pose to the men is, do you desire romance from a woman? And if so, what gestures would you find romantic to receive? Okay. So it was interesting because if I had to guess, I would not think that a man would desire romance, specifically romance, not saying he wouldn't enjoy things from his lady or things like that. That's just something that I did not expect to see. So when I saw the answers, I was a little bit surprised. 89% said they would desire romance. So then I asked, of course, what gestures would you like? So we'll see if they actually understood the assignment. Okay, like literally, do they understand the assignment? All right, so this is what he called romantic: acknowledging my accomplishments, feelings, and needs. Do y'all feel like that's romantic? Because my definition of romantic, like, that just seems thoughtful. I wouldn't call that romance. I wouldn't, like, to me, it's like blow my hair back. Whoa, romance. I don't know. A little effort in planning time together every once in a while instead of me planning everything every single time. Not to be confused with me not wanting to be a man and pursue a woman, which is great in a relationship, but I'm definitely not here to entertain women like a jester. I feel like as a man, I don't need a lot of material things, and personally, I don't care for a lot of acts of service. Wow. But acknowledgement of things that matters to me shows that you care. So I just find that interesting that he calls that romance, because when I think of romance, I think of like a vibe, an experience, a moment, and I think of like audio, visual, sensory, all of these things. So I think of like shows like The Bachelor, and they come out and there are blankets on the beach and there are candles and there's music and there's food and drink and pillows to lay on. Like, I think of romance as settings, romantic settings, or romantic like gestures would be, like a person riding up on a horse and I guess and asking someone to prom, or I don't know. I wouldn't think of just a lot of the stuff that guys are saying, just I wouldn't register as romance. So curious for the men watching to weigh in. Okay, the second guy said, hell yeah, affirming words. Pay for date night sometimes. Scoop me some cologne. The list can go on. Again, those seem like nice, thoughtful gestures. I wouldn't call it romance. What do you think, ladies? Y'all are quiet tonight. Okay. Pay attention to my love languages. Let's see. Okay, I was just making sure he hadn't reached out for the link. Pay attention to my love languages, not to woo. Not to woo, but to recharge my soul oh, like not to woo him, I guess, but to recharge my soul batteries, because guess who gets the 100% capacity? That's cute. Acknowledging my efforts, or just a simple text about how she shows, I think she's saying about how she appreciates and respects me. I think that's what he's trying to say. Again, so far I have not read anything that sounds like what I would consider romance. Let me know. Okay. I am so mad at this comment. I said, what gestures would you find romantic to receive? Head and being quiet. I cannot. Very strong feeling. I know who that was. The names are redacted for me right here. The next guy said cologne, wings, head rubs. Doesn't have to be over the top. Small gestures go a long way. Again, is that romance? That's in their mind? Okay. Cooking for me, rubbing my back, taking a sincere interest in learning about one of my interests. He said Philadelphia Eagles. Wanting me to teach her about pro football, the fandom of it, and wanting her to participate in related activities with other friends and watch games with me. Now, a woman like this is definitely romantic with gestures like that. A man will go into infinity to no end for her. Small gestures that speak to me only, he said. Look, I'm leveling up in life, so tell me I gotta put the video games down. He actually said virus games, the video games down and all that mess. I need you to clear my head and I'll still lock in. Folks got their hobbies while they're out here grinding, but if you stay caught up in all that, you're going to miss where I'm going and start thinking the wrong way about me. Reading is fundamental, guys. Reading is fundamental. All right, we got one more, and this is, what is the sweetest thing a woman has ever done for you? All right, so let me go ahead and put this up on the screen. By the way, y'all, anyone has questions they want me to ask the men, you are more than welcome to drop it on Patreon, and I will ask your questions. I do my best to try to ask ones that I'm interested in, think you might be interested in, but feel free to submit that if you want. Okay, so what is the sweetest thing you've ever done for a woman? Not send her a meme. That is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. He said send her a meme. Okay. Oops, I just moved my screen. Surprise birthday party with her closest friends. Oh, wow. Done for one. I'm thinking he said receive from a woman. Okay. Giving her new experiences and teaching her new things. Paying bills when she was down. Hiring her sister, when she was pregnant, so the house dynamics weren't messed up. Helped her pass her insurance test. Covered and created diversion. What? When she peed on herself in Macy's as a grown woman, even though I didn't know her like that. Always speaking life and truth to her. I did not see that coming, and that was oddly specific. Oh, okay. Cooked and ran out to buy a suit for work the night before she had to fly out for a case. She is a keeper. Toss up between the fact that he could pick up a suit for her. Like, wow. Toss up between a picnic and planned a birthday trip to Pigeon Forge with her family without her knowing. Pigeon Forge is nice. I was there for her in her time of need, paid off all her debt. Wow. listened to her. A down payment on a BMW times 3? Huh? Paid for cabinets. First time meeting her, took her out for a 3-course meal in Miami Beach and spent that time together with her. So those are the most romantic things that they have done for a woman. Interesting. Feel free to share in the comments if you have anything that you want to share that either you did romantically for someone or they had done romantically for you. I would probably say to date that my proposal was probably the most romantic. I hate again that I missed the song completely. Which would have made it like through the roof romantic, but the fact that it was beautiful environment and that he thought through everything and made sure my favorite people were there made it very, very sweet. So whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live, it'll be nice to hear what you had to say. You guys, we might actually have a shorter show tonight, which I won't be mad at because I do have a lot of packing to do and preparing for my event this weekend. Willie had to pop off because, of course, it's his birthday and he's been getting blown up. And I know Mont said that he was coming on later, but if he doesn't get here before I sign off, that's not my problem. That's terrible. But yeah, so those of you who don't know, Willie has graciously offered and did put together or sponsor an event that I was able to put together. And so this weekend, it is a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here in Dallas. So very excited about that. You guys will see the pictures. You're going to see a bunch of patrons. And these are some people that I've interacted with for years. Some of them are students from my course. And so it's going to be very cool to get to interact and see them. And I've got 2 special visitors who are going to be with me that I'm going to be very excited to show off there. So you guys will get to meet them. Make sure you check your Patreon account if you have any questions that need answered. I will be posting updates there as well. So you don't want to miss that. Any questions you guys want to ask me before I go? Normally I go a full 2 hours, but without the panel here to talk, my stuff is a lot quicker. I do think I have a little something I can probably share. Let me see if I can pull up my notes because I was going to do a live stream later. But y'all let me know if you have any questions. We can do some Q&As right now. Otherwise, I will be wrapping early. Let me just go through and see if I can see which one I was going to do later next week. And if I can find it, we'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. Oh, this one was interesting. It was wanting to go over ways that women can subconsciously take the lead in a relationship or in dating, and then you end up regretting it later, or you have resentment. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and gather my notes here so I can go through it quickly. Put this down here. Y'all can't be shy. Some of y'all said that you would come on, but you're nervous to be on with Willie. You have to let me know. Because it's fun when we get a lot of new faces coming on the show. All right, so let me go ahead and get this here. Okay, so subconsciously taking the lead and then it leads to resentment. Got my notes here. Did I get all 3? Yeah. Okay. She said, oh, who is Willie? Oh, this must be your first time coming on. So Willie's the guy who was on earlier. And he's faithfully on every single week, but he has strong opinions. You know, we got Mont, who's a lot more laid back. And so I've had people say that they are, a bit intimidated to come on. So we used to have like 6, 7, 8 people. So I tease him about being intense. Okay, so I will close out with 5 ways in which women subconsciously can take the lead, kind of being your masculine, but then you're resentful because you want to be in your feminine, but you're already there in your masculine. So therefore the guy's not there in his masculine. But the very first thing, and probably the biggest one I see, is overcompensating for a guy's lack of effort. So let's say, for example, if he is not planning dates, you then start to suggest and go, oh, I have tickets to this thing, or hey, I'm not doing anything Saturday. Do you want to hang out? Or mentioning that, you have an opportunity to do something or availability in your schedule. Okay. Oh, good. Lindsay weighed in. She said, my ex took me to concerts to see my favorite artists in different cities. That's very nice. So if the guy is not taking the lead, instead of filling in for him, I would fall back. I would observe. So instead of trying to create and build a bear and make him what you want, you should be observing. I call it the discovery phase, at least the first 3 months, and seeing how he moves. So I would not psychoanalyze him and go, is he shy? Does he not know this? Does he not know that? I would see, you want to see what is his level of effort. It does not take a ton of effort to reach out to a woman, to talk to her. If he's interested, he'll want to talk to you and talk to you consistently. Another way that we can subconsciously take the lead as women in dating is asking for help from a guy, but then managing his way of doing things. So you ever had a boss that gave you an assignment, but they micromanaged you? It's kind of like that. If you ask a guy for help, he might do it in a way that's different from you, but he's definitely not going to want to help you again if you are critiquing his advice and telling you, no, it shouldn't be that way. Let him have that job and let him do it on his own. It's kind of like when you're a parent and your kid is learning to do things. It was so hard for me not to finish my kids' sentences, or if they struggle with an activity, I wanted to jump in and help. But then I realized this is actually stunting their growth. It's not allowing them to learn, because we learn a lot from mistakes. So it's okay if a guy does something and quote unquote messes up. He can learn from that and then adjust in the future. Oh, okay. Let me know, sir, when you do, and I'll go ahead and check it. Number 3, doing things for him that we don't actually want to be doing just because that we fear not doing them is going to make it look like you're not interested. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm reading my notes wrong. Doing something that you don't want to be responsible for doing because you don't trust that he's going to do it correctly or do it at all. So doing his laundry, making appointments for him, cleaning up, reminding him about crucial things. There is, what do they call it? Weaponized incompetence or something like that. I really think that we set the bar as women, and I always say this, I don't mean it offensively when I compare women and children, and I also don't mean it offensively when I compare men and children, but humans are humans and we have certain human nature. If you tend to do something for someone, it doesn't make them have to remember. And so it's important for them to learn from their mistakes, and it's going to be human nature that if you keep compensating, they're going to by default kind of lean to, well, she's going to do it. I don't really have to remember this. She's going to go ahead and do it. Overcompensating for lack of effort is a big one. Yeah, that's really, really not helpful. Another way that as women we can subconsciously take the lead is if you feel responsible for your partner's emotions. Okay. You have a hard time holding your own discomfort. Like if he has a bad day, it's a problem and you feel like you have to fix it. You feel like you got to come in and sometimes it's okay for the person to be upset. It's okay for the person to be down. And if the person's really, really angry, you don't need to, I would say, like, cater to that. And I want to be careful on how I'm saying this. If the person has a problem handling their emotions, you should not have to tiptoe around them, meaning like, well, I just won't bring up certain topics, or, I don't want to say things while there's stuff in reach that he could throw. Like if a person has anger problems, if a person throws temper tantrums, if a person acts funky when you're about to go to an event and now he lets everyone know you guys are in a bad space, that is not your responsibility. You should not have to tiptoe around emotions and things like that. So huge red flag, by the way, if you're dating somebody and they have a really hard time, controlling their emotions. But you are not responsible for that person's emotions. You are responsible for your actions. And over time, you can learn how your actions affect your partner. But you're definitely not responsible for his emotions. One of the ways too that could be happening in a toxic way is, let's say if a guy wants to get physical and he feels like, well, you've had enough time to get to know me, we should be comfortable enough, and you don't. Sometimes guys will try to make you feel like you need to care more about catering to their emotions than actually speaking to what you're really feeling. Okay. All right, there we go. I sent him the link. All right, so if you're still watching, there is the link. Okay. And the last thing we are talking, oh, goodness gracious, I keep forgetting to put the banners up. All right, I'll do it even though it's super late. This is ways women whoops, can't type because these doggone nails, consciously take the lead in dating. Y'all gotta remind me when I forget to put them up. Okay, so the last one is taking charge of a man's growth. It should not be your job to make him grow. You can inspire him. And I feel like one of the best ways to inspire people in general is to do it yourself. So let's say you want to inspire your boyfriend, your husband to get in shape, and men, women, vice versa. You start getting in shape. You start eating healthy. You start having a better bedtime, or you stop cursing. Whatever the thing is that you want to inspire the other person to do, a lot of times if you just do it, it'll inspire people. I know for me, I fell off the wagon for a little while, but for a while there, like I was super consistent. I'm back now, but I was super consistent with working out. And it was inspiring other women to do it, even though I never was like, hey, get out there and lose weight. Hey, get out there and work out. I just was posting my successes and, oh, I dropped another pound. Ooh, da 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 da. So just get out there and do it on your own. So you should not be telling him to go to therapy. You should not be telling him to change his habits. You should be observing him in where he is and seeing if this is something that you can live with. Because I'm telling you, trust me, I know this. If you get in there and try to fix a man or change a man, you are absolutely going to get pushback. One of the traits of a masculine man, which we love masculinity, is having the freedom to do what you feel is best. So if you feel pressure, like an outside source is trying to push you in a direction, they almost subconsciously will want to rebel and go the other direction, even if logically what you're saying makes sense. So it's best to pick a guy who is, for the most part, what you want, because trying to go in and nitpick and try to get him to adjust and tweak is probably not going to be successful for you. And it is most likely going to put a strain on your relationship. Okay. So it looks like nobody has submitted any questions. I do know that Greg said that he was going to jump on. I am actually out of topics because I only prepare the couple for the show. But we'll give him about 30 seconds to come on. If not, we will just stop it right here at the top of the hour. Yes, I did, Kaylee. So that should have gone out like 5 minutes before the show started. Let me see if for some reason, yeah, it did come on there. Actually came on. Yep, it came on time. But we'll see. It looks like y'all wanted to come on, so we'll see. I'll stay on for another hour. Any questions in the meantime? We'll go until 8 o'clock. If anyone comes on by 8, 9 Eastern. Oh, it just turned to 8. Okay. All right, let me snooze this here. I did want to see if you guys had any questions before we go. And I forget there's a delay a lot of times, so I'll put 1 more minute on the clock. YouTube puts a little bit of a delay on there, especially with the ads and things like that. So you guys are not watching in real time. You're watching like 2 minutes after. Okay. All Okay. Anyone else, by the way, newbie, if this is your very first time watching the show, understand this is a holiday. This is very different than the normal format. Typically, we have a bunch of people joining in on the panel, but I was tempted to possibly cancel tonight's show because of the holiday. And a lot of people are going to be traveling because of the event tomorrow. So if it's your first time, tune in next week so you get to see the show and how it really is. I think we're all getting ready, so forward to looking forward to coming. Yay! I know, Kaylee. I was so tempted to cancel because I need to pack. I need to do a bunch of stuff before going, and we're gonna have a good time. So, all right, it looks like I stayed on an extra minute. I'm gonna log off here, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, even if it was a different format. It was just a lot of your girl tonight. But I had fun hanging out with you guys. Anyway, drop some love if you are watching the replay, comment replay, and I will shout you out after the fact. But until next time, oh, you guys, that just means I don't get to hang up on anybody. Until next time, have a good night.